Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Of course, Hudco Roofing. If you need a roof, give us a shout, 364-1007, 364-1007. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, prochargeev.com. You'll see all that info right here on the ticker at the bottom. Okay, hope everybody had an awesome Sunday. Had a really good night last night. My roommate from my freshman year in college at the Holy Cross, Matt Weitzel, was he's in town with his family. His son's on spring break, and so he's 10, but son's on spring break, and so they came to New Orleans for a few days, and so popped down last night, had dinner with them. It was awesome, great to see him, and that took away a little bit of the sting of the LSU baseball loss. Tigers dropped the series to Florida. They get run ruled 12-2. I'll give you some big picture takeaways. The game, there's not really much to say. Thatcher Hurd did kind of what Thatcher Hurd does, which is he was really pretty good for 4 innings or so. Threw up 4 zeros, danced around a little bit of trouble, got to the 5th, and then Florida put up a 6 spot in the 5th. LSU answered with a run in the bottom of the 5th, which was the homer by Bear Jones to make it 6-2. And then you promptly gave up the homer to Shelton in the 6th to make it 8-2, and then they run ruled you in the 8th. So a lot to talk about. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about the game. I mean, Jay put together an off. It was very clear what he was doing. If you looked at the lineup on Sunday, he was putting together an offensive lineup. It was, hey, look, let's see. Look, wind's blowing out. It's Sunday. Our guys touched up Caglione pretty good in Omaha last year. Let's see if we can go put the boppers in the lineup and pop some homers out of the yard. So Travinsky caught. Brady Neal went to right. Pearson went to second. Milam came out of the game, right? It was just pretty obvious he was trying to get Ethan Fry DH'd. He was trying to get the boppers in the lineup, and you produced 2 runs on 3 hits. Now, Jack Caglione is awesome. He is a Golden Spikes candidate. He is a Friday night guy pitching on Sunday. Jack Caglione is going to be a top 5 pick in the draft this summer. He is going to handcuff a lot of teams because he's really, really good, and he was really good yesterday. His final line, 7 innings pitched, 2 runs on 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, 5 walks. I mean, felt like LSU wasn't super competitive. They gave away a lot of ABs, but I'm not sure that would have mattered because of the way your staff fell apart with Cade Anderson and Javen Coleman. So after Hurd. So I mean, there's some things I think we've learned about this team we can get into. I think the big picture, though, is probably the big picture part of this is the thing that makes you kind of go like, dang, because if you go back to Saturday and think about how different our emotion would be today. And this is the nature of baseball. You completely outclassed Florida on Friday night, right? Great. Holman's back on track, looking like the dude we thought he was. Griffin Herring finishes the game. You only use 2 pitchers. You outclassed them on Friday. You come out on Saturday and you've got this thing won. I mean, you're up 2 runs in the 8th. Ackenhausen on the mound, everyone at your disposal, and Ackenhausen gets a strikeout, which should end the 8th. The ball scoots away from Milazzo, run scores, and then, of course, they pushed across the run in the 9th to tie it. If the 8th ends on that strikeout and you're up 2 going to the 9th, you win the series. You win the series, and you go into Sunday not caring that they run ruled you, just Caglione was great, we won the series, had tip on to the next. But you gag away Saturday, and then what happened on Sunday happens, and it's a dramatically different feeling. So it's hard to remember how close you were to winning the series because of the way it unraveled on Saturday in extras and then getting run ruled on Sunday. if you want the positive spin, it's that if you look at the SEC West, Arkansas is 5-1. A&M, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, all 3-3. LSU, Bama, both 2-4. Auburn, 1-5. I mean, everybody is going through the gauntlet right now, and it's not much different in the East. I mean, Kentucky's 5-1. South Carolina and Florida are 4-2. I'm not sure if you noticed, but Vandy got swept by South Carolina this weekend. It's hard to win baseball games. It's hard to win in the SEC. So, I do have some ideas, some thoughts, I guess I should say, on how it might look, what they might do going forward. But we'll get to that. I'm sure plenty of y'all have questions. We'll get to it. And how about the women? They advanced to the Sweet 16. They beat Middle Tennessee. I saw on SportsCenter last night that LSU's win against Middle Tennessee is the largest margin of victory for a team trailing at halftime in tournament history. So how about that? I guess to say it another way, no team has ever been trailing at halftime and come back to win by the margin that LSU did. The final was, I'm looking for the 83-56. So they won by 27. So largest margin of victory in NCAA women's tournament history for a team trailing at halftime. So LSU wins. They advance to the Sweet 16. I'm not sure if you saw, but Virginia Tech, of course, without Liz Kitley, they lost in their round of 32 game. So there's no there would have been a potential rematch of LSU Virginia Tech in the Final Four if LSU had gotten there. But Virginia Tech lost, so obviously we won't see that rematch. So LSU will play UCLA, or did they play that game yet? I'm trying to find to see if UCLA or Creighton has played UCLA Creighton. Okay, UCLA did win it. Okay. No, they didn't. Sorry. That's so weird if that game is today, which I'm assuming it is. So they'll have one less day. UCLA will have one less day, and I got to fly across the country. Yeah, no, that's today. That's today at 5:30 p.m. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, I guess it's 5:30 Pacific too. So they got to play tonight and then fly to Albany. Whew, that's tough. Anyway, all right, let's say some good morning, see what y'all got. You know the drill is always fire away. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Abner Neal, good morning. Glad about the Lady Tiger side about baseball. You should be on both accounts. Matt Plavidal, pitching let us down again. Going to be a long year. Matt, I'm still not going to go there because here's the thing, man. You got a really good start from Holman. We can agree on that. You got a really good start from Gage Jump. And Luke and Thatcher Hurd threw up 4 zeros to start the game. So we just know what Hurd is. Hurd's a guy that's going to get you 4 or 5, and that's about it, which is why he's probably a reliever at the next level. It's probably why he's not a starter at the next level. But you got really good outings from your first 2 guys, and Hurd threw up 4 zeros to start the game. I mean, he got you into the 5th with you went to the 5th with a 1-0 lead. I mean, everything unraveled after that, but he gave you a shot. You didn't hit the ball. You scored 2 runs on 3 hits. As far as the offense, the challenging thing with a team like this is look at a guy like Braswell, for example. Braswell should be a 9-hole hitter. That's what he is. get you a few singles, move runners, you know, just be a guy to keep the merry-go-round going. Braswell should be a 9-hole hitter. He's batting 6th in your lineup. Paxton Kling continues to struggle. And we've talked about him enough. And, if Jay went to Jake Brown on Saturday and started him in center, and I'll tell you this, man, if that would be the concession that I'd make, if Jake Brown can play center, and I've heard he's perhaps the best athlete on the team. If Jake Brown can go play center at or near the level Kling does, and he gives you a bat, I would do that. Now we'll see. Remains to be seen what the level of his injury is and all that sort of stuff. But that's just kind of indicative right now. I think you're probably going to see more Ashton Larson. It's pretty clear you're going to see more Ethan Fry. Jay likes those guys, and he needs run producers in his lineup because right now you don't have them. And we didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal because your pitching was supposed to be great. Well, your pitching hasn't been as great in conference play as it was in the pre-conference play. So something's got to give there. Ethan Davidson, morning, Matt. Pitching has let us down. Most importantly, the bats are not there. I don't want to see Paxton Kling and Brady Neal in the lineup again. Ethan, I'll say again, like, we knew the offense wasn't going to be great this year. Like, we all talked about that coming into the year. If look at Arkansas. Arkansas is a great example of what we thought LSU would be. A team with a dominant pitching staff that's trying to figure it out offensively. And Arkansas won on Thursday night, 1-0 over A&M. Like, Arkansas is not a good offensive team, but they're 5-1 in the league because they pitch it. And that's been the surprising thing for LSU. So I agree that if your pitching staff is going to continue to struggle in spots, then you're going to need to find offense. So that's one of the things about Kling. Like, and I've been adamant. I want Kling in the lineup every day. I don't care if he's an out because you need that glove in center. You need an elite glove at a premium defensive position. And I'll take the out. I'll take the out in the lineup if he's going to go play an elite center field. Did you see the catch he made on Saturday where he was almost at the track and it was the ball that was hit in no man's land? If you're watching the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. It was a shallow pop behind the bag at second. Milam and Braswell were both going out. Neither could get to it. Kling was deep in center, almost at the track. Dead sprint came in and made the catch. Like, if anyone else is in center, that's a bloop single. With Paxton Kling, it's an out because he's that good of a center fielder. And those are the types of things that don't show up at the box score that people don't often talk about, but it matters. Well, if Jake Brown can give you that as well, then I'd say put Jake Brown in center. Matt Lusto, give me some copium, Scone. Matt Plavidal, another drenching for me today on the mail route. Missed that drought. Hey, man, the farmers need it, man. We need the rain. We need the weather. That's why crawfish are $8 a pound. Armstrong grappling, hard to believe we were dropped third strike from winning the series. It feels like we got swept. You see what I mean? Like, that's baseball. Like, I know nobody likes to hear that, but it's true. Like, that is the nuance of this game where if you catch that, like, how different is the vibe today and it wasn't a drop third strike. I mean, it was a 57-foot breaking ball. Like, he spiked the breaking ball intentionally, and Ackenhausen did. I mean, that was a beautifully executed pitch, and Milazzo did exactly what he was supposed to do. He got down on his knees, chest forward. He blocked it with his chest plate. The ball just skipped to the right, and the runner came home from third. So, yeah, I mean, but if Milazzo finds that ball, throws to first, and you're out of the eighth, up 4-2, you win the series. And we're looking today going, well, it got away from him. Caglianone's going to be a top 10 pick. It's good, but you won the series. And now let's go to Arkansas and see what happens, right? I mean, that's the vibe today. Instead, you lose in extras, you get run ruled, and it feels dramatically different. Kelly Gross, good morning. Brent Roban, good morning. Still not going to freak out. Guess I'm still clinging onto the saying better to peak late in the season than right now. We'll panic if they lose the next 3 series, which is a real possibility. Brent, I think we talked about this at the start of the season. That's a very real possibility. You could hit the halfway point of the league 6-9 in conference play. I think that's very realistic. But then again, Vanderbilt just went on the road to South Carolina and got swept. You got to go to Arkansas this week, then you get Vanderbilt at home. You've got opportunities out there, man. And it's rarely, just for the reason we just said, like, it's so hard to remember it's just one. And you lose the way you did yesterday, and the normal reaction is to freak out, but it's just one. And I'm going to tell you this again. Y'all remember I said this. You let one get away on Saturday, you're going to steal one back. It's just, you see it every year. It's the nature of this game over 30. Like, one got away from you on Saturday, you're going to steal one back. Those generally tend to find a way to even out. So when LSU steals one in the 9th, remember that. Ransom Antoine, good morning. James McKinney, what up? Morgan Miller, what up, bro? Good morning. Hope y'all are great. Taylor Hudson, morning, Matt. 2 Sundays, JJ, a row of getting run rule. 2 Sundays, JJ, a row. Which should be fixed first? Sundays in a row. Well, I think you have to have obviously a quicker hook on Hurd. He's a guy that's going to give you four innings, 4 maybe 5 innings. He's just not a guy that's going to get you through the 6th or 7th, generally speaking. Not say he won't ever, but generally. I think it's pretty clear the moment's too much for Cade Anderson right now. Really good young lefty. We're all very excited about his future, but we talked about that. We had this conversation in the pre-conference. I think he was so good in the midweek. And I asked the question, like, Jay's going to ultimately have to decide, is Cade Anderson better as a midweek starter or as a weekend reliever? If he's going to be that good of a lefty, can he go get you outside of the bullpen on the weekend? Well, we've seen him now back-to-back weekends, and it's not been good. I think the level up in competition for conference play is too much for him. So that's another thing. I think Cade Anderson needs to go back, be the midweek starter, continue to mature and grow and develop, because the last thing you want to do is just crush this kid's confidence, because every time he goes out there, he gets shelled. So I think that's part of it. Talked about center field, depending on Jake Brown's health. I do not. You basically, Jay's basically going to have to decide: do you want to go try to win pitching and defense, or do you want to try to go win with offense? And he's tried both. Hang on one second. Drew's backpack's beeping. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I wish I could play something for you. Well, every time I hit that button, it like Apologies about that, y'all. Sorry. Please smash the like button if you're there on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. We appreciate you. LinkedIn, let's connect there and repost if you would. Deborah Coward, good morning. Patrick Berglass, good morning. Proud of the Lady Tigers for overcoming adversity against Middle Tennessee. The fans for showing support and coach against the media haters. Johnny Troxler, what's up? John Hendricks, do you think the problem could have been too much offense, not enough defense for facing a team like Florida? Well, so John, I mean, I think that's what I was kind of getting to a little bit there before I had to go stop Drew's backpack. Yeah, I think Jay's going to have to decide. Like, do you want an offensive lineup or a defensive lineup? Do you want to try to win with pitching and defense, or you want to try to win with offense? Now, Jay's an offensive-minded guy, so of course he wants to win with offense. The problem is, I don't know that he's got enough options. Like I just mentioned, Braswell is a great role player. He is your I'm trying to think of a comp for you. But I'd love to see Braswell, Cole Freeman. I'd love to, batting in the 9 hole, basically is like a second leadoff for you, a guy that's going to get your offense moving at the bottom of the lineup. Like the best example I ever heard of this was, and I always credit Hannah-Griff with this. And this might be something that people don't remember because it's been a minute now, but this was sort of symbolic of the Smoke Laval era. And it's Blake Gill, if y'all remember Blake Gill. Blake Gill was a really good college baseball player. But during Blake Gill's time at LSU, he wore a lot of different hats. And it sort of illustrated the transition downward that the program was going. And Hanny said, when Blake Gill was batting 7th and playing second base, I like Blake Gill. When Blake Gill was batting 3rd and playing shortstop, I didn't like Blake Gill. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have your role. And I think that's kind of indicative of where they are right now. You got too many outs in your lineup, and if that's the case, then you need to be awesome defensively and on the mound, and you're not. So Bryant said, I would have left Fry in the lineup to DH every game. Fry, and you may start to see that. Fry and Ashton Larson, I think, are 2 young guys that are like, it's very clear Jay likes both those guys, and you're going to see both those guys get more ABs. The tricky thing is if you DH Fry, that means you're catching Travinsky, and you lose a lot defensively with Travinsky. There's just, that's not even debatable. He is, I think so many times we think about defense, people just think about caught stealing, and that's not it, man. It's framing pitches. It's managing your pitching staff. It's how do you receive the baseball as a catcher. Yes, blocking up balls. It's a lot of things there. So of your 3 catchers, Travinsky is by far the least defensively. But if you're just trying to stack your lineup with bats, okay. If that's the route you go. Because Jones isn't moving off first. Now, if Ethan Fry can play in the outfield, that would be great. Like, could Fry play right? Well, if that happens, then what do you do with Pearson? You put Pearson at second? Okay, you put Pearson at second, then you put Milam on the bench. Are you really going to bench Milam when he's been one of your most consistent offensive players all year? You see, like, that's the issue. Like, are you trying to go offense? Are you trying to go defense? Are you trying to blend the two? Well, blending the two hasn't served you really great so far. And you would love to see something where a guy just is so good he can't come out of the lineup. I mean, you saw that last year with Cade Beloso. Cade Beloso didn't start the season as a starter, but Jay was given him midweek at bats, and then it was, okay, then we'll give you a weekend at bats. And I was like, Cade Beloso's got to be in your lineup every day. Like, he's that good of a hitter, and he was. So he won a job. Milam's batting .295. That's 3rd on the team. He's got a .402 on base percentage. You take that guy out of the lineup for Pearson, who's hitting .278 with a .369 on base percentage, but Pearson's got a bigger bat. Oh, Tiger Diver, is it time to panic about baseball? It's not time to panic. I mean, you're 6 games in, you got 24 to go. No, it's not time to panic. It's never time to panic. You want you panic when you get into the postseason, you get into a regional and you lose your first game. Then it's time to panic. Guy Brooks, good morning. Jason Mobile, how much of this falls on the new pitching coach? I'll tell you this, Jason. One of the things that I certainly noticed early in the season that they've changed a bit. Yeski's pitch calling, boy, he didn't call a lot of curveballs early. It was a lot of fastball slider, which means everything is generally flat. It can move, but it's flat, right? Instead of a curveball, like a true 12-6 curveball, where you're changing eye levels and things like that. And certainly that was the case with Thatcher Hurd. And we talked about that here. And I told y'all after Houston, they were going to make a change with Hurd, with his mechanics, and he did, and Hurd's been much better since. Now, you could look yesterday at the final line, see 5 runs and all that, but he threw up 4 zeros to start that game. So I think part of that is an evolution. I do think part of that is a process. Rocky Killian, sorry late to the party. What's the story with Kim going nuclear on the Washington Post? We talked about it a bunch yesterday if you want to go check out yesterday's episode, but the long story short is there's a reporter at the Post named Kent Babb, he's the guy that wrote the story when Brian Kelly got hired in Baton Rouge. There was a $100 million coach and everybody else basically crapping on Baton Rouge, saying our priorities are out of line. Kim Mulkey's refused to do an interview with him for 2 years, so he's trying to dig up dirt on her. He's calling former coaches and players, trying to get people to talk bad about her. That's the gist of it. Bubba Smith, good morning. Big Mill, what's going on? Pitching, not the problem. Hitting is. Again, like, I don't know how many more ways to say this. Yes, 2 runs on 3 hits yesterday is a problem, but Jack Caglione is going to be a top 5 pick. There's going to be a lot of offenses that struggle. We also knew this team was going to struggle offensively. Or we knew that. Like, that was, if you paid attention to any conversation any of us who follow this team have all throughout the start of the season, it was they got tons of arms. They're going to have to lead with pitching and defense while the offense figures it out. Well, the offense has struggled at times, but the problem is you've gotten run ruled the last 2 Sundays. Like, you're pitching, all of your starters had bad outings at Mississippi State. You know what I mean? Like, you just haven't, like, the thing you were supposed to be great at hasn't held up its end of the bargain. If it did, you'd look more like Arkansas, who's 5-1 right now in the league. They're not hitting the ball, but they're so good on the mound. They're winning games 1-0. A couple more here. Trey Fiser, good morning. Jay Borden, Trivia Carter, Kirk Taylor, Wendell Norman, Reed Rule. Anything on Jake Brown's injury? Not yet. I think Jay Johnson has meet availability today, so we'll get an update. Irfan Sayad, good morning. Let's see, Ethan, there doesn't seem to be a silver lining for the future. He isn't playing any infielders or outfielders that are going to be here for the long haul. We're probably losing all the starting pitching. Ethan, that's a bit reactive, man. Like, he's recruited so exceptionally well, and I'd flatly disagree with you on the outfield. We're seeing Ashton Larson. We've seen Jake Brown. Like, they've got tons of talent on this team, man. And I think a part of Jay's problem in the first pre-conference part of the season was, instead of finding his everyday starting 9, he was trying to pacify a lot of people to get a lot of people playing time, and I think that's why you're in a spot where you still don't know who you are. Brian Wynn, what's going on? Brad David, I think I saw your niece Olivia at the women's basketball game. Looked like she was having a blast. I'll have to see. I don't know if Liv went, but she might have. She very well might have. Craig Duke, fire Jay Johnson. All right, y'all. It's about 8 o'clock. Tim Gotro, what's going on? Joel Cunningham, more proof complacency is real. Saban is the only coach that can manage 18 to 21-year-old kids to stay hungry. I don't know if I believe that. Brian Wynn, Ethan Fry was a catcher with a rifle arm, just an option. Von Bluesman, good morning. All right. Yeah, look, I said this as we started. Rodeo, the good news, 75% of the league is 3-3. That's kind of the point. Vanderbilt, which came into this week at number 3 in the country, got swept by South Carolina. It's hard to win baseball games. That's what it is. So, Yeah, one more. Brian Ashcraft said, you can't afford to give up and out on this year's team. Last year, I could have heard the argument. It's up and down the lineup. Brian, I'm with you. I'm with you. But the flip side of it is because even if you take Paxton Kling out of the lineup, okay, because I'm assuming that's your argument. You take Paxton Kling out of the lineup. Fine. Does that dramatically change your lineup? That's the point. Like adding one person in Paxton Kling's spot doesn't dramatically change your lineup. Taking Paxton Kling out of center field dramatically changes your outfield defense. That's the point. Okay, I got to go. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you for AFR3. Peace.